Right, what is up? I figured I'd do another quick look because why not? Although this technically doesn't count as a quick look because I've beaten the game twice. But it's a quick look nonetheless. Anyway, quick look subject of this video is Furi. A game by the Game Bakers. And this is their 5th game, I believe. They did 3 Squids games. I believe it was Squids Wild West, and Squids Odyssey for mobile and 3DS and Wii U. And they did another game called Combo Crew, which is purely mobile. This is the first PC and console game that they have done. And the lead visual designer for the boss designs, the game world itself, all that, is, and I'm gonna butcher this because I know Japanese good, Takashi Okazaki. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Familiar name to anyone who's read or shown any passing interest in Afro Samurai. This is the manga artist for Afro Samurai, who is the lead designer for this game. So instantly I was like, okay, I need to take a look at this game. And it is not what I expected. It is a boss rush game. A genre of game I typically avoid because I'm not big on the whole boss rush thing. Because they're normally too short, they just lack, but that's just my personal experience. My personal opinion could be wrong. That's not the point. But this game, oh god, this game. This is a boss rush game as you would expect. There's nothing but bosses. It's just boss, exposition between the boss, and then boss again. And each boss escalates in difficulty. And also I'd probably argue that each boss gets like more interestingly designed as they go on. Apart from maybe the second to last one, who I feel is the hardest, but is also the most generic, which is a little bothersome, but what are you gonna do? But other than that, that is one of the main draws to repeatedly bashing your head against a brick wall until either your head cracks open or the wall collapses. And that's what this game is. And one of the main draws is just boss designs, really. It's just seeing what boss lies after this one. How do they fight? What mechanics do they have? Because they all have different fights, different mechanics, different attacks. So that's one of the main draws for me. It was just, I see this thing, it looks awesome. What the hell is next? As well as also bragging right and self-gratification. Of course, I'm narcissistic like that sometimes. In between the boss fight with these guardians, you just walk. You just walk and listen to great music while you get told exposition and info on the upcoming boss or the previous boss, told by your bunny companion with very questionable motives. Let's just leave it at that. The basic gist of the story of the game is you were locked up in super jail for some reason. I'm not gonna spoil that. But Bunny Man broke you out of super jail. Why he's in jail, I can't tell you. But he broke you out so you can carve your way to freedom. That's the, without getting into spoiler stuff towards the end, that's the gist of the story. You and Bunny Man were in jail. You got to break out of jail by killing each and every one of these guardians, or jailers, as Bunny Man calls them. One thing that should be blindingly obvious right from the get-go is that this game is fast. Really fast. You need to keep on your toes if you want to dodge all the major attacks and avoid the bullets that will eventually litter the screen. Because it is one part hack and slash, and one part bullet hell. And it's brilliant. As you can probably tell, I'm gushing a little bit because I love this game so much. It was so enjoyable. Thankfully, however, with the bullet hell stuff that happens, you can shoot most of the bullets out of the air or deflect them back at the opponent. Not all, but most of them, I would say. If you can't shoot them out of the air, you can deflect them. That's pretty much the rule. But it's not always preferable to go out of your way to deflect or shoot them out the air, really. It's mostly just to clear up space for you to move. It's not so much to do damage to the opponent when you knock back the bullet or anything. It's mostly just for control of your area, shall we say. In the corner of the screen under the boss's health bar, you will see multiple pips. These are the amount of phases that are in the fight. Some bosses have more than others, some have 2 life bars per phase. Thankfully, because a lot of these bosses are endurance runs, once you beat a phase of a boss, once you get 1 or 2 health bars down for that phase, your health will replenish, which is great, because under your health bar there are also 3 little pips, and these are your lives, so to speak. When you run out of health during a phase, you'll get back up at the cost of 1 pip, and you'll get all your health back, but so will the boss. But thankfully they won't revert back to the start of the fight. They'll revert to full health at the start of that phase, so there is some leniency with that. But thankfully, if you get a boss down, if you beat a phase of a boss, you'll get all your health back for that as well. Combat in this game is split into 2 modes. There's the regular or distance combat, I'd say, where you have free reign of the combat arena, and the camera will either zoom in or zoom out according to your distance from the enemy. And you are given a pistol with unlimited ammo, a charge shot, a basic 4-hit combo, a charge slash that will stun your opponent and let you do a special grab attack animation on them for extra damage, and a parry. Not a block. I need to stress this, it is not a block. The parry cannot be held down. The block, as it were, is only active for a second, if that. Long enough to block a hit as it's coming at you, but if pressed too soon, you will get hit. Pressed too late, you will get hit. There are 2 possible results to come out of a successful parry. Either you parry as soon as the attack is initiated, to which case you will effectively block the hit and receive a small health bonus. Not much, it's negligible really, seeing as you can't restore as much health in 1 parry as a single boss hit will do to you. But if you manage to string together several successful parries, you can get most, if not all, your health back if you time the parries correctly. The second type of parry is a perfect parry, and that's if you activate a parry the moment the attack hits you. You will knock back the boss, get some health back, and they will also automatically be in a stunned state, allowing you to perform that special attack on them for extra damage. Except for, again, that second to last goddamn guardian. Do not bother trying to perfect parry him, because it yields nothing. I'm just putting this out there now. If you perfect parry the second to last guardian, nothing happens. You don't get a chance to hit him, he doesn't get stunned. All that happens is you lock swords, a QTE pops up, and if you're successful, no one takes any damage. If you lose, you take damage. So it's not in your interest to perfect parry him, because if you perfect parry him successfully and lose the QTE, you get damaged. If you win, no one gets damaged. It's not in your interest. I would highly recommend, if possible, or if you just do it out of reflex, purely going for the standard parry, get your health back when he attacks. I learned that the hard way. Perfect parry's not worth it with him. When you get the boss's health bar down from the first health bar, which is blue, to their second red health bar, you will then be able to engage in close quarters combat, in which case a ring will encircle the boss and the camera will close in very tightly, and you can't move it outside that ring, so it's very, as in the name, close quarters combat. And in that combat, most of your abilities are still the same. You still have your 4-hit combo, you still have a charge slash, but now your gun has been replaced with the ability to charge your sword, which allows for large damage on hit. Which, I will admit, you can use to break a few fights. There was the 4th boss fight, if I remember correctly, where all you had to do when in close combat was dodge behind him, charge, hit him, And while he's recovering, you'd have enough time to charge again. And as soon as he gets up, hit him again. Doesn't work all the time, but it was able to basically skip 3 phases. Because I didn't need to see what attacks he had, because I could just do that repeatedly. I went back and I want to point out, I went back and fought him again, because I've beaten the game twice now without doing that. And I can honestly say, don't do that, because although it's easier, each boss phase is each phase of every boss is different, and they add new stuff, and I'd recommend seeing it all, because it's just fun to see, really. As you can probably tell, this game doesn't hold your hand, which seems to be a common trend nowadays with indie games. It's all trying to emulate the Dark Souls experience and Dark Souls popularity, I guess. But I can say with this game, although it can be brutal and make you call bullshit on several occasions, as it did with me many, many times, it is actually surprisingly fair. The game knows and expects the player to slip up. It knows that you're not perfect, but it will condition you to be. It's designed in such a way that all mistakes and all faults are purely down to the player and not the game itself. No matter how much silliness, how much bullet hell stuff fills the screen, AoEs and all that, everything is spaced and done in a way that a player who's on top of their game can avoid all the damage, and all attacks are very clearly indicated, so you know they're coming. It's just down to the player being able to gauge distances for his dash, what to dodge, what to shoot. Every single hit in this game, I can see. I can't pull it off myself, but I can see that every single attack in this game is avoidable. I can't get through this game without being hit, but you can. I'm gonna keep saying that you can see it because I can't describe it well enough. But you can physically see that it's possible to avoid every single attack. Even if in the time you will call bullshit and say it was unavoidable, that's not true. It is avoidable. Everything is avoidable. It's just, to quote the meme, get good. You need to get good enough, and you can get through the entire game without taking a single. And I'll be honest to admit, I'm a little biased towards this game because I saw the lead designer was the manga artist for Afro Samurai, and I saw Platinum's name attached to it. From what I've looked into it, like, Platinum didn't have much to do with the game. I've only seen Platinum's name in the credits, in the special thanks. So I can't find any trace of what Platinum's had to do with this. But I saw Platinum's name, I saw the manga artist for Afro Samurai, and I saw that this game has a wonderful blend of like stylized, futuristic, neon, mixed with traditional Asian motifs. Like the first boss is a samurai who wears those, I can't remember what they're called. I'm not going to even try to pronounce it. But he wears those face masks, those samurai face masks that have different emotions on them. Like anger, sadness, joy, all that. And wearing Japanese samurai armor. And he has like a big Buddha glowing ring floating off his back. I'm not sure what that is, but there's strong Asian motifs in this game, blended with the futuristic, stylized look it's going for. And I just looked at that and was like, yeah, I need to play this game. I didn't even know it was a boss. I didn't know it was a boss rush game until I downloaded it. At which point I was like, oh, it's a boss rush game. Didn't deter me. Didn't deter me because it was just fun to see as it is. This game came out on the 5th, and it's free on PlayStation 4. And that is surprising. A game released free on the PS4. I don't know if they did that for extra exposure or what. But that's the free game this month on PS4. And that shocks me. Because I felt bad afterwards. Because I enjoyed that game so much. I felt bad that I got it for free. I would give the game bakers all of my money. And I would suggest anyone else did as well. You can also get it on Steam if you're one of those people. And that way you can give them all your money. Also, I need to talk about the soundtrack. I cannot neglect to mention the soundtrack in this game. I'm gonna just shut up for a moment and just let you hear it. Yeah, it's bloody amazing, isn't it? I'll point out a few minor gripes I have with this before I sign off, however. The bosses don't have enough lines of dialogue. Like, just at all. I can't stress how much of a problem this is. Each boss, there will be banter. Apart from the second boss, which cannot speak, all of the bosses often provide some form of banter during the battle. Either judging you, mocking you. They will be vocal during the boss fights. The problem is there aren't enough lines. They will end up repeating the same lines over and over, and this problem gets magnified. If you are struggling with a particular boss or in a particular phase, you will be subjected to the same 3 or 4 lines over and over until it will honestly get more frustrating than the boss fight itself. The other problem I have with this, it might just be a PS4 thing, but there's noticeable frame rate drops and stuttering, which in a fast paced game like this, that is punishing. That is, I want to say unforgivable. Because it doesn't happen often, but there was at least 3 times in my 6 hours of play when I first beat the game, that the game would stutter just enough for me to die. An attack that I could have avoided, the game would stutter because the boss would do something to fill the screen. And I couldn't avoid it, and I died. And that is dire. That is a dire problem in a game like this. Honestly though, that's all I have to say that's negative. It's just, the game can be frustrating as all hell, but honestly it's fair, so I can't knock that against it. Frame rate and stuttering, not a common problem, but is there, I want to mention that. And the dialogue with the bosses, again, not enough lines if you ask me. If they added a few more, and the problem would be solved. But you can also argue then, just don't die to the bosses and you'll never hear those lines again, really. So, it's a problem to me. I'll point it out, but it might not be a problem for everyone. But, yeah, that's really all I have to say. It's just a really, really good game. I enjoyed my time with this. I am going to beat it several more times. I am going to attempt the speedrun mode eventually, when I get good enough. And I want to talk about the ending, but I can't. I can't talk about the ending. You need to see that for yourself. But yeah, that's it. Frustrating game, crazy game, but let's be honest here. There'd be no satisfaction if there was no challenge, and that's what Furi provides. A hell of a lot of challenge.
Way down there lies a free world. A world of peace and light, where you're free as the wind. And you know what? We're going to get there.